Really?
And it was a famous club. We heard of a song called Stomping at this Joy. Right.
Steve's class was 7.
The Fugitive on TV.
Okay, we're ready, and we're rolling.
We're rolling.
So you tell me about that.
Okay, this picture up here was taken back in 1955. And that's when Pete Rugolo was recording for Columbia Records. And his band was playing at a place called the Savoy Ballroom, which is a very famous ballroom where the song Stompin' at Savoy was dedicated to it. And the way the bandstand was only about a 12-foot span that went the whole length of the club, and there wasn't enough room otherwise for dances, so they had to line the band up in the line. And it was a great place to have fun, but it wasn't very good for the band to play in. That's about it on that story. That's Pete Rugolo, and he's still around. He was born in 1915, December the 25th, on Christmas Day, on a little island near Sicily, Italy. And he's Italian.
You said he worked on the Fugitive television program?
Yeah.
What did he do? Did he compose
the music
for
the movie, Fugitive? Yeah, for David Hansen or whatever his name was.
Oh, David Jansen.
Jansen, yeah.
Yeah.
And he did Viva Vegas, a lot of TV, mostly TV series stuff, and a few movies too.
Pete Rugolo.
Pete Rugolo.
And then let's go over to this one.
Yeah, he wrote a lot of stuff too for the Four Freshmen.
Oh,
a
sure.
lot of their albums on Capitol Records was a Pete Rugolo record.
26 miles on a leaky old boat, any old thing that'll stay afloat. Get me to Santa Catalina.
That might have been one of them.
Yeah. All right, now can you tell me about the accordion picture up there? But if there's a better one like this one over here.
Yeah, this was taken during the time I was playing in a place called the 17 West in San Jose. That was like from about, I'm trying to think of the years. It goes back so many years. About from 1990 to 1995. It was about 5 years.
Uh-huh.
And the girl in the middle was Suzanne Peters. And very good singer and played keyboard bass. And that was Tony Castro, who I worked with for about 23 years, I think it was. And we worked on the Love Boat for a number of years.
I know Tommy Castro. Would he be any relation to him?
To who?
Tommy Castro.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, go back to this one now.
Okay.
All right, hold on. This one over here?
Kind of. That was taken at his house, but this one here was going up the stairs to the restaurant part of a club called 17 West. 17 West, and real good dinner. I don't even know if it's still there.
Wow.
It was on North First Street in San Jose. And that's again Suzanne. She moved back to Alabama, so I haven't seen her in years. And this
15.
This one I was about 15 years old, and I used to play a lot of early, San Francisco had KPIX and some of this was even before they had all those networks.
Oh, yeah.
So they had a lot of amateur hours, a lot of shows, and I played on a lot of TV shows.
And is that how you got started doing this?
Right, I was accordion mainly.
Oh.
At the time. I was billed as the Dick Contino of the Bay Area. You know, I don't know if you remember Dick Contino. That was like late 40s, and he was on a show called the Horace Heights Show.
Horace Heights.
Yeah, show. So this has gone way back.
So you would know Del Courtney.
Yeah, I did at one time.
Did you ever appear on his show?
No, I don't think it was Del Courtney. Armin Gerard, quite a few others, but not Del Courtney. I don't believe. It's so long ago, I can't remember who I played with.
When you first got into this, how long were you gonna play for like a week or two and then get a real job, or were you always gonna?
No, I started out right out of high school, and a friend of mine started a club called the Purple Onion. That's how it was named the Purple Onion. It used to be a Chinese restaurant. And across the street was a place called the Hungry Eye. And Enrico Banducci had that club. And at the time he had, if you can believe it or not, Barbara Streisand was one of the first places she ever sang was there, Barbara Streisand.
Yeah.
And then there was Johnny Mathis sang there for just 2 weeks. And Enrico says, all I could do is sing ballads and everything, put people asleep. So he, after 2 weeks was let go, and then he came over to the Purple Onion, and he was going to audition down there, and they said they had several people already ahead of him to sing there.
Yeah.
And he would have worked for $50 a week, I think.
Wow.
But we didn't have an opening at the time. This was 1953, I believe.
Yeah.
53, is it? I'm trying to remember going back. I think it was 53.
I only remember Chances Are.
Right, it was a little bit later. And he got his start with a lady that was a bartender at a club called the Black Hawk. It was a jazz club in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And her and her husband had a contact with somebody back east and wanted them to hear Johnny Mathis. And it happened to be just the time he was supposed to try out for the some football team, because he was a very good football player too. But he decided to go back east and do an audition for Columbia Records.
Wow.
And his
What a choice.
first record, I think, was Chances Are, one of those. And it shot right to the top.
And he was done with football.
Yes, that was the end of his football career. But he made the right choice. And, you know, you hear people say, yeah, he made it overnight. Well, he basically made it overnight. Most people, you know, they go for years and years.
Oh, yeah.
Then
20
finally-
years to make it overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah. An overnight success 20 years
Overnight,
later.
yeah, 20 years later. I'm what you call the 50-year
Overnight success.
Overnight success. But I started my band in 1959, which was 50 years ago.
Would that be this one here?
And this is one of the shots. That doesn't quite go back to 59, but it goes back to the early 60s. And I can't remember all the different years, but if you look closer, you can see that naturally the personnel changes from time to time.
Right.
Nobody ever has the same players all those years.
The styles change, and so does the hairlines.
Yeah,
Just
hairlines.
recede or
Yeah.
come fuzzy.
And this here is black and white, and it goes way back to about 19,
Can you see that?
1969, I think, late 69. And it was on a ship called the Lorraine.
Oh, the Lorraine, sure.
And I used to go to Hawaii all the time.
Yeah.
And I'd go to Hawaii, it'd take a week to get there, and then we'd do 2 weeks around the islands, and then come back for a week. It'd take almost 7 days to get back to San Francisco, and get a whole new cruise, go back out, and I did that for over a year. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the Lorraine. My wife and my ex-wife and her family went to Hawaii aboard that.
Yeah, they sold it to Greece. I don't know what they did with it. Probably turned it into metal. Melted it down.
Or one of those guys might have turned it into his private yacht.
Could be.
Those
Yeah.
big shipping type
Aristotle,
things,
I
yeah.
think.
Aristotle.
This is,
It's always
I
fun.
got a letter from the draft board.
Okay, so what kind of music?
And I was, wow, how can I get out of the Army? So
Alright, then tomorrow night.
I called up my friend Stan Kenton, who had a dynamite big jazz orchestra in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, many, many years. And he had me come down to his studio, or where he had his office, and wrote me up this letter saying that, you know, I had wrote for a lot of bands and was, you know, what he thought was talented enough to be excused to write for the military. So that helped me. But come to find out in the end, they wouldn't take me because my eyes were so bad.